Hey, and welcome to the But Mostly Disney podcast. I'm Tater, and with me is my buddy Andrew.
Hey, everybody. Everybody's having a wonderful night.
Yeah, I hope everybody's doing all right. And so we're gonna kind of delve into a quick topic tonight and see how it goes. No plan, not a lot of research. Imagine that. And
on the huge TV. Ooh.
What's that? Karen
says you're on the huge TV.
Yeah,
two big heads on a huge TV.
That's right. Two ginormous melons. But next week, we'll be in the same place at the same time. We'll both be at Disney. So tomorrow, I'm going to Philly for the weekend.
Nice.
To see my son row on the Schuylkill River. He rows crew for Jacksonville University. So we're going to go up and watch that. Then I'm coming home Sunday, and then Monday morning driving to Florida. And then going to meet up and have dinner with Andrew on Tuesday night. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too. We're driving down Tuesday morning, my daughter and I, our first father-daughter trip. So I'm nervous to see how that's going to go. But we'll do anything and everything that she wants to do. And we'll break bread and have a good night and then let the vacation begin.
I feel bad for your daughter because she's stuck with the two of us. Maybe what we'll do is we'll have like dueling Osmo live streams or something. Or maybe we can do a live dining review and leave it on. You can join us for at least a little bit of dinner. We'll get through some in lieu of a podcast. Maybe we'll just go live. Because I would have to. I've switched to this Ecamm, but it's Mac only. So in order to do that, I think I canceled my StreamYard. I don't know how I would do it. It's too technical. I'm not worried about it. Hey, speaking.
I have a gimbal. We could do it off your phone through Facebook.
We could do the Osmo, though, then both have mics.
Yeah, we could.
I don't know. This is probably pretty boring. But speaking of tech, check this out. I picked these up. I don't know if I'm going to keep them, but I got the
Ray-Bans.
The Meta glasses.
Yes.
So now I'm recording the podcast. Even as we speak, you can see how the rest of the room looks that you don't see, like Lou's whiteboard. I can't just, I like them. I like them because they fit my big head. And the recording is really kind of neat. And the speaker, there's speakers in the, I mean, it's a pretty cool little apparatus, and I could see how I could use it in the parks or on rides, but I don't know if I need them. I'm going to
best remove them. I don't know, it blow off.
I'm going to try them. I'm going to try them out next week and we'll see how it goes. So I lived in Jacksonville. I lived in Florida in the 90s, and I wasn't really full into my Disney-ness at that time, but we did take, I ran restaurants, and we had a restaurant in Jax Beach, and we did take our staff over to Universal. So I've always said that I had never been to Universal, but I have. I've been one time in like 1996, and I think we drank margaritas and wandered around for several hours and then went out for a steak afterwards. So I have been, I don't remember a whole lot about it. I remember, and if anyone who's been there has, please correct me. I feel like there were a lot of 3D rides. And I remember like a lake in the middle and a boat show kind of going on. Have you been, Andrew?
We haven't been to the park. We went down for a long weekend. We stayed at Sapphire Falls, kind of did the cabana pool deal, went to City Walk. Addison was too young to really do anything, but we wanted to try something else, and we like the hotels and all. We're going to go back when she gets a little bit older, but I do remember watching a lot of 3D rides, and they had a boat show. They had something, I think, with Jaws, maybe.
So, oh yeah, well they had because they had like a backlot tour, almost like Disney did, right? And I will say, to preface all of this, I am not anti-Universal. Like, I have no problem with the other park. We just don't go there. And the reason, I think a lot, we were talking to my Charlotte about it today, my youngest. I was like, why don't we go? Because, I mean, honestly, some of it's money, right? The problem is we love Disney so much and we want to go to Disney that it's not that I wouldn't run over, but I've already spent so much money on this Disney trip to leave it and spend X amount of dollars on Universal, it's just a lot, right? And we could divide it up, do 3 days here, 3 days there. But then the problem is we'd miss Disney. We don't want to, we really only have funds for one of the trips, right? And I think that's our biggest problem.
Yeah, that's kind of what we ran into. We did a long weekend and had a friend of mine who does travel agency help us out with it. So it helped us save a little money. But yeah, we already had 2 other Disney trips planned that year. And this was kind of a spur of the moment. Let's go down there in the summer to do something. But yeah, it's, now granted their annual passes are cheaper, but I don't know how Epic Universe is going to affect that, if the prices are going to start going up, or is that going to be a separate annual pass altogether?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's an interesting question. It's hard to say. And I don't know much about their, I'm playing with this, and sorry, because your name was off and it's bothered me, but now I can't figure out how to change it. Now I've made it so bad. Now it's going to drive me crazy the rest of the night. But this is what you get with live TV. I don't know. We have Busch Gardens tickets, annual passes for up here, and I thought we had the ones that would let you go to Florida and SeaWorld as well, but we do not. So, because I was thinking, well, heck, I'll go down and shoot over there, but it's only. Jay, what's up, buddy? Now I feel really bad. So Jeremy Stein is Main Street Magic, and he and Rhonda are writing Small World
again and again.
What number are you on, Jeremy? Because when I looked earlier, you were on like 10 with 4 hours to go. But they're raising money for Lou Mongello's Make-A-Wish Foundation. They've been writing Small World since 9 this morning. 11?
I think so.
It's unbelievable.
Before noon, we'll say that.
Yeah, so they've been doing it all day to raise some money. Hey, and if you're still listening, Jeremy, too, and please, if you're listening to us, you can go over and donate. If you go to Main Street Magic on Instagram or Facebook or wherever any place they are, they have a link to donate. But I didn't know if it just linked to Make-A-Wish. I didn't know if I should donate specifically, if there was something just for Main Street Magic doing this. And they have a big event coming up in May, which I'm 80% sure I'm going to be, a 4-park challenge that I'm going to be able to go down to, but I've got to rearrange a little bit of scheduling. So I'll let you know. But they're a great podcast, and they are a lot more organized. I met Jeremy in September of last year at Lou's Momentum, and he'd already planned out all of his podcast episodes through the end of the year. We usually plan ours on 2 days ahead, if that. But we do have some planned stuff coming up that's gonna be cool. But thanks for Jeremy. Jeremy's the man. He's awesome, and I love him. All right. So Karen says she's been there 3 times, but that's pretty good. Done the hop stuff. What's the hop? I don't know what hop. Oh, Harry Potter. That's got to be Harry Potter, right? And that's the draw, right? Like they have, and this is, and Caleb's saying this too. I mean, this is Epic Universe is going to be a game changer. And that seems to be the consensus. Now we've watched a lot of videos, over the last couple of weeks. And I think there are some differences, and I think there's some awesomeness. I think I hate to say it, and I don't want to lose my Disney card. There are some things that they do, maybe I won't say better, but differently, right? Like they are definitely more ride focused. Whereas I think Disney's more attraction and experience focused.
Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it. That they're more ride focused because they may not put as much into a theme as Disney would. As look at Islands of Adventure. There's really not a lot of theming. It's more ride. But then you get the Harry Potter part, and they've really dug their heels into learning that attraction and the theming part of it. But from what I've seen, we talked about Dark Universe before. Just seeing those guys walk through that's a lot to take in. So I'm hoping it's awesome.
And that's a spot where I'm going to be lost and totally. It's kind of like when Lou starts talking about comic books. I'm fascinated, and I've started to enjoy a lot of the comic stuff that I've seen lately. But I didn't read comics as a kid, And though I feel sometimes like I'm in parallel to Lou and a lot of stuff, he loses me there. Even though I love listening to it, but it's just stuff I don't know about, and that's where the monster stuff are. I've never liked horror films. I'm not against them. It's just not my, my Kool-Aid. So I know the monsters. I mean, I've seen them, but to me, I'm like, I'll walk through it and see what it's like. Harry Potter, I definitely want to see, and I'm excited about. But Villain's Land, honestly, is the same for me. Saying I don't care is not the right way to put it, but I'm not like...
That's your cup of tea.
Yeah, it's really not.
Yeah, I don't know a lot. We know the Disney villains, but I'm not really excited about Villain's Land. Now, some people are going to stone me to death for saying that, but just not my thing.
Well, and it's good, right? It's good that we don't all like the same thing, because then we'd all be crammed into Villain's Land, and no one be doing anything else. I'm hoping it dissipates some Peter Pan lines every now and again, stuff like that, so that I can get on it. So I think when I went to Universal, so just in case you've never heard of this and you happen to be listening, you've got Universal has 3 parks now, right? They have.
Well, they consider 4. They consider Volcano Bay one.
Well, okay, that's fair. I mean, but okay, we'll exclude water parks. Although, side note, I've heard that water park is incredible.
Yeah, I've heard it too. Yeah.
I have some friends who said that whatever they do with the lines, they give you like a little waterproof wristband that you can use, and they call you back. They said just some of the way Universal is moving people around, people seem to like a lot better than what Disney's doing. But I think Disney's really in a state of flux, because they're changing a lot of things, as we talked about last week before. So, I mean, I think they're going to find their groove as well. But my friend said that was the best water park they'd ever been to, and they're Disney people. So, you got, before they opened, because I'm not sure how Epic's universe is going to work. Before they opened, I had a friend call me, and they are very much Universal people, and they were going to Disney. So we were trading tips back and forth. And they said that, that at that time, right, it's so funny. This is exactly how we all feel. What is this universe you speak of? He's so right. But what he said you could get both parks done in one day, because the one thing, and we talked about it, I think, on the last show as well, is that if you stay in a fancy hotel, then you get your Fat Lightning Lane Express Pass. Express Pass, right? I was just translating for the Disney folks. And he said with that, I guess depending on time of year, but he said you can just laser through it and get it all done, which we know at Disney is impossible.
Yeah, very much impossible. Like you say, I hope when they get Villain's Land done that it does alleviate some other areas that need to happen. Yeah.
So you'll have Cars Land shoved in there, and that's going to add to it. So that's going to be awesome. And then you're going to have a whole new area over there behind it. But will they just let more people in? I don't know.
Probably no Disney or ticket sales.
Right. I'm watching Jeremy Goff is live on a Thursday. He's cutting into
I'm watching that too.
So I have him on one of the other screens. So now you've got 3 parks. What I'm interested to see, and if anyone else knows, because I do have other things I have to do. So Karen says both parks in one day. That's not a lot of rides. That's interesting. I mean, and that's what I was just pulling up here to see what there are, what rides are at those 2 parks. So you've got Minion Land, but, and there is a ride there. It's a simulator. They've got New York. Is this right? Am I in the right one?
Yeah, you get, that's, yeah.
Yeah, Florida. San Francisco, Harry Potter, and then that was confusing when they came out, right? Because you had to buy a ticket for both parks because you wanted to go back and forth on the train. Men in Black, Springfield. Oh, you got the Simpsons. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, but I think that's getting that everything I've read, that's going to go away soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the biggest rumor right now since Disney owns 20th Century Fox. They own the Simpsons. that's going to go away. And I forget what they said they were going to put there, but
and then they have a DreamWorks land, as they should, right?
Yeah.
But I miss. I feel like I did a Back to the Future ride when I was there. I mean,
there was one there.
Okay.
And they still have E.T. The Twister's gone. Born Supremacy or Born Identity. One of the Borns to have a ride or a show.
The Born Stuntacular.
That's it. Yep.
I liked Hollywood as Hollywood, or MGM as Hollywood. I thought that was cool. I really liked those shows. I understand, and I'm grateful for Star Wars. Don't get me wrong, but I do miss that a little bit. And then now Epic Universe, which is what you think it's 10 minutes away.
That's a crow flies. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so how are they going to get folks? I mean, is it just
they're busting them?
They are.
Yeah. And then, from what I understand right now, you can't buy a 1-day ticket. You have to buy a 2-day ticket.
Really?
Yeah. And that might have changed for Epic. Right. But they've got bus stops that'll take you from Epic to Islands of Adventure and Universal.
And then a giant hotel you can go stay.
2 giant hotels.
So they're saying 14 minutes.
Okay.
At least right now. So that's not bad. And you'll go right by the Pirates Dinner Adventure. Yeah, it's going to be epic. It's going to be pretty wild. And they have, they have 5 lands. Is that right?
I'm pretty sure. Yes.
So you're gonna walk in to the
Celestial Park is what you get to first.
Right. Which is okay. You can send me your hate mail. Maybe that's what's different. Is that just sounds. It sounds kind of cheesy, but everybody I watched, and we watched 5 different people. I'll use the word influencers. We watched Ordinary Adventures. I watched some Tim Tracker stuff. We saw Tom Morrow in there with somebody else. I mean, we watched a bunch of people, and they were all thrilled. I mean, absolutely like blown away that the video doesn't do it justice. And so Celestial Park, is going to be the center, the hub for everything else. Yeah. And then Dark Universe, which you're really exciting about, right?
Yeah, Dark Universe, like all the Universal monsters.
It looks weird in the daytime.
Yeah, I will say that it doesn't fit during the day, and it's funny they're talking about. You'll see the monsters roaming the streets. I'm like, you're not going to see Dracula roam the street during the day.
Right.
I'm like, so how is that going to work?
Maybe that's what the smoke was.
Yeah.
And yet the vampires run the whole area, right? Like I saw them trying, doing some of the story.
Yeah. And I'm like, how does that, okay. Sunscreen? I don't know. But like, they did How to Train Your Dragon, which my daughter, when she was 4 or 5 years old, loved those movies. I said something to her, I said, you want to go see? She goes, no, not really, Dad. I'm like, so who's that?
Oh, really? Because I'm 53 and I want to,
I'm all about it.
Yeah, I think that's the one that's going to draw me in the most. Did you see the Hiccup?
Animatronic?
I'm sorry.
You're talking about
yeah. Yes, exactly. And then the little tiny ones, the little robots, the little, oh my gosh. I mean, that looks insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Matthew's saying that the Ministry of Magic ride looks crazy. And the queue, I just want to go through the smoke. I don't even need to ride the ride.
Yeah. The motor flu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super Nintendo World, right? I don't know. I mean, it's got to be awesome, right? I mean, I've played Mario. I love Mario. It looks really cool.
It must be good if Lou goes to California and does it.
Right. And then you've got, and so like Karen's saying, 48 rides, shows, and other experiences. So there's tons going on. And I think everybody that went through there on the videos I watched said there was no way you could do it in one day.
No. I think that's why they're making you buy a 2-day pass.
Mm-hmm. Because you'll be dissatisfied if you buy a 1-day pass. It probably makes sense.
They're just alone to go through Harry Potter hub or whatever, world, whatever you want to call it. there's so many buildings when you're going through Paris, all these shops and restaurants and shows and other stuff before you even get to the Ministry of Magic.
My buddy, this is my nephew Brooks. He popped in. What's up, buddy? Cannot wait. He texted me about it. So it's fun. It's fun to see who's a big Disney nerd, and they've kind of moved on to Epic. And look, their complaint's the same as mine, is because it might be a better value. Like there's the question well, I've got a couple questions, but one question I have is Universal a better value? Like if you planned a trip right now equal, I mean, you could probably do Universal in less time.
Yeah, but
so spending less money.
I don't think you're comparing apples to apples either.
I agree. You know where I'm going on Monday, so I'm not going by any of this on Monday. But I mean, I agree with you. But I wonder if people are going to start looking at the value.
They're going to heavily weigh their options now.
Yeah, and think carefully about it, because I haven't been, and again, so please correct me, but I think if we are looking at the differences, the biggest one, well, I think immersion is the one that grabs me the most.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and so Brooke says there's only 3 rides that the Express for the premium hotels. Or I'm sorry, 3 rides that don't allow Express Pass.
Okay.
How about that? Now they're getting a little Disney on us.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's. So I was going to say, I was talking to Andrew a little bit. We always meet up a little bit before the show starts, and the one thing that I think is that Disney looks like it's always been there to me, and it has, right? I mean, what's the newest park? 30 years old now? 25?
Yeah, right. 30. Well, 20. 98. It's when.
So it's been there a long time, but even when they spend a little more on the plants, right? It looks like it's really there, as opposed to, in my opinion, and just my opinion, looking at the videos from Universal, it looks like they cleared a big field and then just put the buildings there.
Yeah.
And it's just a difference. It's really not necessarily bad. It's just a difference.
I will say, when we drove into Universal, because we had to take a different route, it was just like you're driving through the city, and all of a sudden, poof, there's this theme resort, and they had palm trees everywhere. They want to make you feel like like you're out in California almost, with the palm trees and the lighting and the streets and everything. So, kind of felt like when you get to Disney and you're in Orlando, but you don't feel like you're in Orlando. Same thing with them. I didn't feel like I was right by the interstate when I got off the road. They had good theming for the property, but I just guess I'm just one of those Disney guys. I just don't.
And look, if you're listening and you're a Universal person, please don't hate us. I haven't been. It's not fair. This is all speculation based on information I don't have. So it's really unfair of me to talk about it. But it does, from a distance, that's how it feels to me.
I do think Disney's going to have to step their game up, because this is just going to hurt them. Going to hurt their pockets if they're not careful.
Right. Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I think they know that.
Yeah, I think they might have waited a little too long to start. How many times we watched D23 or something like that, and going, okay, they're going to release something. They're going to release something. Oh, we're getting a Figment character. That's it. I'm like, okay, they're building something down the street that's going to be epic, and it looks like it's going to be epic, and we're 5-6 years out from getting a land.
Well, and I mean, if I'm being fair to my Universal friends, let's look at Epcot, right? And even though I love it, and I was just watching some video of mine at night in that little where Walt's statue is, it is pretty cool at night, but it does seem like
it's lacking.
Yeah. Like, maybe we should have just kept the fountain and built something around that fountain.
Well, the pictures we received and said, this is what we're building and what we got, because we had budget cuts. But then, you look at we made so many billions of dollars, but we cut all this stuff out. And
That
something else
roof-
to understand is Disneyland gets so, like, look at what they're doing in Star Wars Land at Disney right now. They got these shows, they got all this stuff. We get nothing. Why? Why is that?
So I have a theory. I think it's got to be because Disneyland gets a lot more repeat business than Disney World. Like, I think Disney World has a lot more first-time park goers and Europeans and South Americans that are coming one time and maybe never coming back, right? Whereas Disneyland, I think they have a lot more annual pass business.
To the local sport.
Right. And so they need to draw them in on a regular basis, right? Whereas Florida's just going to be packed no matter what, right? Even in the off times now, Florida's busy. But Disneyland's got to find something to draw them in.
Yeah, they could do something though. Like, now that little movie show they do on the Chinese theater at 8 o'clock is cool. But we used to have I think we should have had some other shows too. But it just seems like there's always something new going on in Disneyland, and we lack a lot of stuff on the East Coast.
I mean, the projections in Disneyland, I mean, that has to be in the works for Florida, right? Has
I hope so.
And why not? I mean, because if it's the same mapping, then it really all it is setting it up in Florida. I'm sure there's more to it than that. But I mean, it does seem like you could pop that over pretty quickly. I mean, even the food. I wonder, I think I would steal the food from Japan and bring it here. I mean, some of the things that they do, why don't we do here? Mm-hmm. I spend my days at Disney looking for things to photograph, to post, trying to find these little Instagrammable moments. And Japan's got them so many, I don't even know if you can get them all done.
And I think, like with, Pecos Bill people, don't kill me, but we've had the same thing in that area for years. You just redid Splash Mountain in Tiana's. Why don't you bring and I know people will say, well, Frontierland, you're going to take New Orleans and put it in there. It's going to be different. But we're put Cars Land right in the middle of Liberty Square. So why not retheme Pecos Bills and do something different there that ties into to Tiana's Bayou Adventure?
So, and Karen says, and she's true, she's exactly right. It's true that the atmosphere is much, much different, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And I do think that from what I've seen of Harry Potter, so my buddy Gary, this is what he says. He says, Harry Potter is perfect. However, you go down Diagon Alley and there's a bunch of doors that go nowhere. If Disney had built it, those doors would have led somewhere, right? They would have been a shop. They would have been a pathway, as opposed to being just a fake door. Or even if they just led to a backstage area. And Brooks, I 100%. Please don't touch Tower of Terror.
Well, Brooks posted too. Orlando Adventures Campus will be good. Now we know they can't do a lot because of the IP at Orlando, but there's so much more you can do with it as well until you can get that IP.
Well, and I wonder if Disney's looking for a great movie that they could put a campus for that. Like if they did, obviously they can use Guardian. Would you say?
Yeah. Thunderbolts. I'm looking forward to that.
Is that May 1st?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I hope that's good. I still haven't seen Captain America.
The first one?
No. The most recent one.
Okay.
But yeah, I think Universal has Marvel east of the Mississippi, right?
Yep, they do.
So
that's what gets me is that IP is all really the comic book version, not the movie versions that we see. I know that would kind of be treading on thin ice there, but to me, it's not even the same. It's two totally different IPs if you really look at it. Yeah, they share the same name, but one's a cartoon version, one's a movie version. And
I don't know the details. Like, do they have Thor? Are they, is Thor only over in?
I think so.
Yeah, over there. Is he part? Maybe the Avengers. I don't know. I've never looked up the actual contract to see what they can and what they cannot have. So, Brooks, you're here. If you can think about it, because Brooks has got two little kids. and Karen, you've been, is one more family friendly than the other one? Obviously we know Disney's family friendly. I mean, they have like 2 thrill rides, right? In all of the parks. I mean, 2 true like coasters. And I know there's more than that. I'm just embellishing to make a point.
So we're saying Tron and Guardians are the 2?
I mean, even Tron is an easy ride, right? Like it's thrilling and awesome, but it's not what I would call a thrill ride compared to, some like we have a King's Dominion in Richmond about 2 hours from here, and that place is full of thrill rides, right?
Yeah, we have Carowinds. We have the same.
Right. Busch Gardens has Loch Ness Monster, and they're reopening their Big Bad Wolf, and I'll do a video on that when that gets going. But I mean, Disney is obviously super family focused. The rides are focused, and maybe that harkens back to the idea that Walt wanted a place that everyone could do something together. So even though Small World, which Jeremy's on right now, live streaming from Main Street Magic, please donate. Even though he's on there right now, you could go with. I mean, we took our kids when they were little. Our kids were probably rode Small World at 2, and they may not remember it, but it wasn't a problem,
Yeah, no, we took Addison when she was 2.5, and I didn't think she would remember a lot, and she did. And we went when she was, I think, 6 or 7. We went to Universal, and we thought about getting a day pass, but there wasn't a lot for her to do, and she wasn't tall enough to ride any of the roller coasters. And we're like, okay, this is going to become, a middle school, high school park for her.
Right.
She'll be tall enough then. But I do agree. I think while we were there, I think there's a good family aspect of a older teen family, but I don't really think, the younger kids, there's not, I think they have like Dr. Seuss Land, and I think they even have something to do with Popeye, if I remember reading correctly.
Huh.
But besides that, I don't think there's really a lot if somebody knows different, please tell me, because like I said, we haven't been, but from what I've read and saw, I don't really see a lot for younger kids.
Huh. That's interesting. Oh, and so Karen said she wouldn't bring her kid until he was older because he wouldn't be able to do the Harry Potter rides right now, and he'd be furious. And I can respect that. I don't know. I mean, everything's what I will say this, and this is I can't even believe I'm telling you guys this. I do have a little bit of an addiction to police body cam videos, and I don't like to talk about it, but I'll admit it that I like watching them. It's just a mindless thing to do, and I see a lot more people getting arrested at Universal than at Disney. Like, I bet I come across one a week at Universal, and it's every now and again, but few and far between at Disney.
That's a drunk dad at the Epcot. That's about it.
I've never seen that. And I remember Adam the Woo was talking about how he didn't like going to Epcot in the evening because it got a little wild. I've never, knock on wood.
I've never personally seen it either, but you hear horror stories.
Oh yeah. That guy climbed the pyramid in Mexico.
Yeah.
So Caleb says Popeyes has a water ride like Cali Rapids at Animal Kingdom. So that's good to know. And then Brooks says that it dominates for the first 3 or 4 times until you have teenagers looking for something wild. So his kids, Brooks, your kids are going to have to love the horror area, right? I mean, they're going to love Monsterland. What do they call it? Dark Universe, right? His kids will enjoy that because I've seen their house and I know that they will like that. I know his wife will like it too. So that'll drag them back.
And there's a lot of restaurants in all these areas. There's bars and restaurants with each hub.
So that was my next question. How about food? Because again, out of the 4 best meals I've ever had in my life, 3 of them were at Disney. And they were incredibly expensive, elevated things that not everyone will ever do. I may never even get to do them again. But I mean, knock you down, unbelievable world-class dining. I mean, Victoria and Albert's just got a Michelin star.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's crazy, right? And and even though I'm not racing to get back there, it just knocked my socks off. Takumite might be the best meal I've ever had in my life, or at least best overall dining experience. And I'm saving
I will say
my pennies for it.
We ate at Yachtsman, and I hadn't eaten there in a while. I was disappointed when we went back because, before it was you had to wear a jacket, and it was, very sit-down restaurant, and we walked in, and then there's kids screaming. Okay, once again, I know Disney is a family theme park, but it was also nice to have a couple places you could go that were just kind of adults only, sit down, have a nice dinner, have a glass of wine. We walked in, and I was like, well, this wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But that, my fault. I didn't read that they had made some changes, but to have those nice adult-only restaurants or areas that, people aren't going to always take their kids to is nice to have. It's a little break, let's say.
All right, so Brooks, and Brooks is going at Christmas, right? Which is perfect. So, Brooks, you should call me so I can plan your trip. We're doing travel agent stuff now. If you haven't heard, if you're looking for a free, no obligation quote from somebody, please go to butmostlydisney.com and click the button, and I can help you plan your trip. So Brooks says inside the park, he didn't love anything, and outside the park had a ton of good food. There's a guy I like, and if you don't follow him, you should. I think it's called the Hay Spence. Lou had him on the podcast a while back, and I was drawn to him because he lived in Key West, which I did too. And I think, I could be wrong, but I believe he was a Disney chef for a while, and now he actually does some really now I can't find him that I want to show everybody. I'll find it before the show's over, but he does a lot of food reviews and real quick 5-second Instagram-y kind of stuff. And on the stuff he does, he's shown some food, but I've never seen him really dwell on it to a point where he's like, oh, you got to go by Universal and grab X, because it doesn't seem like it exists. He also does one pan recipes, which I very much like, because I hate washing dishes. Hate it. But as we know, I mean, Disney, I can think of 20 things on carts right now inside the park at Disney I love. There are places inside of Disney World that I have to go every time.
Oh, yeah. Several.
I mean, from Joffrey's in the coffee booths. I mean, whether you love them or hate them, cheeseburger, egg rolls.
Yeah. Casey's Corner. I have to go to Polynesia and eat somewhere. It's either Kona Cafe or Ohana every time I go. It's just one of the staples I have to have.
Yeah, because it's spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what, in real life, I've found lately that I've been very disappointed with restaurants. Like, we've had several just total strikeouts lately where, and they're expensive, and you go and you spend this money. I'm like, well, I can make all of this at home, or most of this at home. I'm just going to do that and save my money for Disney. I can't find this guy. This is driving me insane. This is the problem I have with social media, is I go and I want to show somebody something. Oh, I found it. Here he goes. He's up top. Okay. It's and now it won't load. The Shay Space. THE Shay, SHAY, Spence.
Yeah. Yep.
And I follow him and I like him, but I've seen him do a lot of Disney stuff, but not a ton of Universal stuff. And I saw they were going to have some sit-down restaurants in Epic Universe.
Yeah.
So, just a little different. All right, so we got food, family friendly. We know that Universal kind of wins on, because they have rides. Disney has attractions, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Karen just typed out Boathouse, Yak and Yeti, Flame Tree Barku, Primetime 50s. I mean, it's an easy win for food. I think there's not even apples and oranges. I haven't been to Volcano Bay, so I'd be interested. I will go. I'm interested to see. I've been to both water parks at Disney, so I'm curious. And I guess Universal never had that bubble feeling, right?
No, I don't think so.
You drive through that gate, and there's something, and it's such a silly little thing, but just that the street signs change, right? So that you know you are somewhere totally different.
I think that's why Walt bought all the land, just so he had that bubble. So when you do go there, you're immersed in the Disney atmosphere.
Right. And I do think Epic Universe is doing a good job with this, but it's going to be hard to beat Disney on storytelling. I mean, that's really what they do. I mean, and that's a big part of the immersion and the detail, right? That they do is it's just going to be tough. You're going to have characters that everyone knows, right? Now that's a good question. How about cast members? So I think overall, and I know, look, you can't control everyone, but I mean, I think Disney's training has got to be, I mean, it's just next level, right? And so their cast members provide this level of magic, and it's part of it's in their DNA, right? I mean, that's part of the lifeblood for them, is making this. And I don't know if Universal does that or not. I know there's little things, and I don't know if it matters to anyone else. But when I was a kid going to Busch Gardens, I used to love, they had a battering ram, right? And I used to love that the ride operators, who were, a lot of college kids, we had Mary's there, kids home for the summer, they would do the live announcements, and they would, get the guy, you scream as you're going back and forth. And they really made it fun, please keep your hands and arms inside the cars at all times, and it was just fun that they were doing it live, and they'd laugh and joke and have a good time. And except for the monorail, I don't always love the recordings, right? But those cast member moments, right? Throwing a little magic out, and it's just a silly little detail where, but that's where God lives, right? Right in the details. And I just think, I think Disney still does a lot of that. They're still really into, even their cast members are telling a story.
Well, I can remember we were in Toy Story Land, and everything in Hollywood Studios was down except for like Star Tours and I think Runaway Railway had just opened, but Slinky Dog was down, Mania was down, Rise wasn't open yet, so Smuggler's Run was down, Tower of Terror, like they were struggling that day, and we're walking by Swirling Saucers, and the cast members asked Addison if she wanted to play basically Wheel of Fortune or Hangman. It was Hangman. And she stood there for 20 minutes and played Hangman with these two girls, and they would have stayed there all day with her and played Hangman, and if they didn't have to go operate the rides.
That's so
cool. And it was
cool.
just, you could tell that they were having fun doing this with her, and I don't think you're going to get that at Universal.
I mean, you might, and so, I mean, but not on. I don't think as a theme, right? Like Karen says that when she was in the cast member program, there was a manager from Universal also taking the classes, which is cool, right? I mean, again, the better they are, the better Disney stays, right? Yeah, and Karen says again, like, so when they sprinkled the pixie dust to close the bar on your boat, I mean, and even though it's a recording. On Haunted Mansion, I think that's a show recording. It's different. It's not just keep your hands and arms, but I'll do it for you. I love that. So I think they win in food, epic and thrill rides, because I was just reading here. I mean, Flight of Passage, Rise of Resistance, even Mickey's and Remy, Mickey's Runaway Railway and Remy's. Those are cutting edge technology, right? But Universal has Velocicoaster, Hulk, Revenge of the Mummy. That's still there.
It's there.
So here's the thing. So with Disney on the food, though, breaking it down, there is quick service, but some of the ones we love, you got to make a reservation, 30 days out, right? Is Universal like that? And then further, I would argue, like we talked about with Fast Pass, see the last show. Can you stop by Universal and just go in and enjoy your day? Or, because you cannot do that at Magic Kingdom. I mean, you can, but it's not going to, I think Disney, to get the most out of your money, requires a little planning.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll literally not look at anything and just go to Universal one day and see what happens. See what I get on, see how much I get done, see what I find.
Research trip. But that would be interesting because, again, I think I feel like I say the same things. I feel like I say the same things over and over again. I watched this couple stand there at guest services in Hollywood screaming at this poor cast member because they'd hated their trip. They hated their day. They couldn't do anything. The ride lines were all long. They bought fast passes, couldn't use any of them. We tried to do it last time and there's no way we would have been able to use it. I mean, it would have been a waste of money, because by the time you get to 6 p.m., when our first one was, I mean, you're not going to get a second one after that. You're not going to be able to move them around. Mm-mm.
So if you could, I guess if you paid the $400 to do the ultimate premiere pass, that would be similar to paying $170 at Universal for doing that.
Here's the argument for that. Is that for the one-time day guest, or is that for the family that's coming every 5 years that wants to make sure they ride everything at that one park?
Well, that's a good question. Would you, here's one for all of us. Would you do it every now and again? Like, I'm thinking when we go in June, I may do fast passes. Or lightning lanes, sorry. I may do lightning lanes. I may go ahead and do it at least for Magic Kingdom.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I think everywhere else, if
you have to have it for that part.
Yeah. I think if you rope drop everywhere else, you can get almost all of it done.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Because I guess it between Remy's and Galaxy's of Galaxy, the Gardens of Galaxy at Epcot, like you might only get one of those without a hour and a half wait. But Magic Kingdom,
I think I would go to Galaxy first and then stand in line for Remy.
Yeah, me too. But then there's I know I had to put my chair up so that I'm but then I'm thinking after that a lot of times I skip Remy because the line's so long and I'm kind of on it. But I think Karen, you're right. I see her in the comments saying Magic Kingdom because there's like 4 things there, especially with Big Thunder down. I mean, that's a big line that's missing. Yeah. And so, there to do it for at least that day, I think is probably pretty smart. Everything else you can kind of get around. Like even Rise was only like 40 minutes when I was there last time.
It was an hour and 15 minutes, and it was Christmas time when we did it. It wasn't that, the day after, I think it was.
So maybe those virtual queues weren't the best idea. I liked them.
Well, I think they had to drop the one, excuse me, at Tiana's once Big Thunder closed. They had to drop it there because they were going to have a horrible people situation. Where were we going to funnel those people to? If that ride was, you basically would have 2 rides down if you think about it, because only a limited amount of people could have rode Tiana's. And Big Thunder being closed, they had to take it off virtual queue. They would have had a big problem, I think.
I'm just looking here. Jeremy, they started at 11.
Uh-huh.
Slackers. That's such a great idea. I love it. I don't know. We'll get there. I will get to Universal this year in some capacity. I almost went last month and decided against it. And I really want to do it with my whole family. I feel bad cheating. I feel bad enough going to Disney without them. I'd feel really bad if I did something totally new But it's work, right? It's a job. And sometimes these jobs require sacrifices. I can't even say it with a straight face. If you're listening, I'm laughing hysterically. But we'll go. I'll check it out. We'll try some food. Maybe I'll spend a couple days there. Because I think if I'm going to do it, even the first time, I'm going to cheat a little bit, knowing that you need to stay at one of their nicer hotels and do the fast pass the first time. That's the one thing I know that every single person has said is the way to go. But again, to say it again, I'm excited to go. I definitely want to go. I like thrill rides, and as much as I love Disney, and it is hard to get me away from, I'm really looking forward to seeing all of this stuff. It's going to be neat and awesome.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know if I'll be a convert where I'll stop going to Disney and start doing nothing but Universal, but we'll see. We'll never know.
We'll have to have reviews of that next. I think, like I said, the next couple of years we'll go, but right now we're 100% on the Disney side just because of my daughter, just because she's not real. I can't get her to, I'm still trying to get her to ride some of the roller coasters and stuff at Disney. She rode Big Thunder, but really didn't care for it, but we'll get her there.
Yeah, it comes. My son hates coasters. He and he wasn't afraid, because I'll be honest, I kind of pushed on him a little bit. I'm like, come on, get on, toughen up, But he didn't like the stomach feeling. That's all it was.
Yeah, I think that's what hers is.
He loved Rock and Roller Coaster. He loved Space Mountain. So I started thinking about it. Yeah, he's really not afraid of coasters. It's not that he's not willing to try it. He just does not like that drop feeling. But then he went on Apollo's Chariot with, his buddies pushed him into it. And Apollo's Chariot it's so awesome. It's just so smooth. It really is like a fighter pilot. It's a great coaster. And so since then we even got him on Tower of Terror for the first time with his buddies. And that's exactly the feeling he doesn't like. So, but yeah, I'm excited to go. So please don't hate me and think that I don't like Universal, because it's not that. I've just not been. But right here is the absolutely best reason to be excited for Epic, because he'll be at Disney on the 28th, and hopefully it'll draw some folks away. You won't have all those idiot vloggers in there with their cameras. I try so hard not to be that guy. I feel so weird.
It's like people are staring at me going, oh, you're one of those people.
I know. It's so bizarre. And I really do. And what's up, Steve? My buddy Darth. I call him Darth Steve, but he's popping by. I love that. That's the fun part of being on Facebook, is that people just end up popping in and they don't stay, because Steve doesn't care about Disney. He does want to see the Star Wars land, but this is an interesting spot too, right? And that I saw someone else talking about it, that there were a lot of the rides at Universal are small seats, tough to get in, right? Mm-hmm. There's a guy on TikTok who I like. I just started kind of following his stuff, and he does a lot of that. He's a big dude, and trying to get into these seats is tough, I always think, there's a height requirement for how tall you have to be, but I always feel like maybe I'm too tall, especially like in Space Mountain. I'm always worried I'm going to clang my head on something, that I've gone too far up in the air. I don't know. That's all I got. I love talking about this stuff. I mean, that's the great thing for you guys showing up in the chat, is to really steer this, because, I mean, that's the idea, right? We'll create a little community where we can all come on another night of the week. And I was so bummed. I had a dinner engagement last night, and I was watching Lou on my phone kind of from the dinner table until everyone told me to stop, and I was being rude. But that just shows you where my heart lies. All right, Andrew, how's it going? What do you got coming up for us? It's really tough, man. Yeah. I mean, I'd be happy. We could go live one time, and I don't know that I'm doing it right. I feel like mine's just kind of guerrilla style, and What I am trying to do is cut stuff out. So if any of you are watching the YouTube channel, but mostly Disney, please feel free to hit me up with any kind of, you can be mean. I my ego's strong enough to take it. I want it to be better. I mean, I'm not doing it for me necessarily. So if other people don't like it, the ones who are watching, then it's not very good. So feel free to throw it at me and let me know what you think. So yeah, we will both be in Disney next week. So I'll have some new videos from that and some new stuff on, please follow on social, all of them, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. If you can, it'd be great if you guys wouldn't mind jumping over and leaving a review for the podcast. I don't even know if we have any. I'm really not paying attention to the podcast numbers at all. I'm trying not to care. That was Lou Mangello's advice, and that's what I'm doing. I look at the YouTube stuff every day, and I'm almost to where I'll be monetized for ad revenue on that. I'm so close. I'm like 40 hours away. I can't believe it's almost here. So that I watch every day, but the podcast I don't really look at. I see it once a week when I put it in audio, but Spotify, Apple, Google Music, or YouTube Music now, wherever you go, please jump over there and leave us a review. Good or bad, loved or hated, but never ignored. And then of course, again, if you're looking for some travel, please either give me or Karen a call. Karen is also, I don't know what she's saying here. Oh, niece. Maybe she misspelled something, which by the way, I'll go ahead and tell you now, I've got a contest going for the month of April. I've only told a select few, but I'm going to put it out sometime this week. Every time I misspell something or make a grammatical error, if you text me or put it in the comments, you get an entry, and I'm going to give away something, t-shirt, something at the end of the month, because I'm so bad at it. I wish I could screen share quickly and know how to do it. I just saw some reel I put up, and the word I spelled made wrong. Karen caught it. Karen's got like 8 entries. So right now she is definitely leading the way. But I'm going to take everybody that corrects me and put it into a big pot, because I'm just leaning into it. I'm not going to change. I'm 53 years old. I do the best I can. I'm shoving all of this Disney stuff in between all of my other real life. So sometimes things slip through the cracks, and I'm a terrible speller to start. I really am. Obviously I can talk forever. That's my superpower. And thanks, Karen. This is what I love, is that Karen says that, love you guys, enjoy this so much, and look forward to it. Me too. It's just awesome. So thanks for coming, everybody. We'll do something live on Tuesday. I don't know what yet. And there may not be a podcast next week. It may just be that. We'll have episode 27 and a half or something. But if we can figure out something different, then we will. Or maybe we'll pop on Sunday and Tuesday. We'll let you know. But we'll see you guys Tuesday. Thanks for coming. Have an amazing week.
Yep. Have a good weekend.